Hello, friends. I will tell you a religious story, and you have to guess the names of the main characters in this story. This is the story of a man who has a name with the last two letters being AM. This man had a wife whose name started with S. The husband and wife were exiled from their city, and they traveled far towards the south. A relative of this man traveled with them, whose name starts with L. On their journey, a king from a faraway kingdom takes the woman with him. The last letter of the king's name is N. There are many other things in the story, but in short, the woman is freed and escapes from the king's captivity. The man and woman then return. Can you fill in the blanks here? You can pause the video and think for a few seconds. You might think it's an easy question. This is the story of Ramayana, in which the characters are Ram, Sita, Lakshman and Ravan. But how would it feel if I say that these fill-in-the-blanks fit in another story, where our characters are Abraham, Sarah, Lot and Pharaoh? This is the story of Prophet Abram, a common prophet in Christianity, Islam and Judaism. So continuing with this religion series, in today's episode, let's talk about Prophet Abraham. Now, some of you might have wondered, what was the point of making videos on religions? That too in today's world. Friends, I believe that, looking at today's world, I feel that it is necessary to make videos on religions. Because religion has become something that is being exploited in terribly by politicians and media to spread fear among people. Using religion alone, hatred is being spread among people. And I think videos do a good job of countering it. The more people from different religions learn about other religions, the more will we be able to relate to each other. The more love and brotherhood will develop among people. So let's start today's story, which is common in three religions. Many people believe that Prophet Abraham was the first figure to preach monotheism. Monotheism means to believe in only one God. Its opposite is polytheism. Polytheism means that you believe that there are many gods. Monotheists say that there is only one God. These three religions, Christianity, Islam and Judaism, are classified as Abrahamic religions. And the word Abrahamic is derived from Prophet Abraham. Many people believe that Prophet Abraham was the first prophet. Especially Jews believe this. Many Christians also believe this. But on the other hand, some Christians say that it was not Abraham but Enoch who was the first prophet. Genesis chapter 5 verse 22 says that Enoch walked with God for 300 years. Genesis is actually the first book of the Bible. Enoch is said to be a descendant of Adam, and Adam is believed to be the first human being by the believers of these three religions. Muslims believe that Adam was the first prophet. So let's start our story with the story of Adam and Eve. You must have heard the names Adam and Eve somewhere. Adam is also called Adam, and it is believed that God created him from the soil. God gave him breath, and he became a living being. Throughout this video, I will use different words to refer to God, but they will mean the same entity because we are talking about monotheism. So irrespective of the word, we are referring to the one God. In the 1500s, there was a very famous painter, Michelangelo. He made this historic painting which can be found in the Vatican City Museum today. He wants to show in this painting how God created Adam. After creating Adam, he was placed in the Garden of Eden. There were two trees in the garden. The first tree was called the Tree of Life, and the other was called the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil. God told him to eat whatever he wanted, but not to eat any fruit from the other tree. That was the one condition. Then God thought that the man would feel very lonely. There should be some helper with him. So after this, God made animals and birds from the soil. But there was no suitable helper. Then God sent Adam to sleep. And when he was sleeping, he took out a bone from his body and made a woman out of that bone. Adam named this woman Eve. Eve is also called Ava, which means life. One day, a snake came and tried to mislead Eve into eating the forbidden fruit, the tree whose fruits were forbidden by God. The snake said that eating those fruits would enlighten them, that they would become like God. Tricked by the snake, Eve ate that fruit and fed it to her husband Adam. And when God came to know about this, he was angry. In anger, he curses them. The snake was cursed that it will keep crawling on its stomach all its life and will eat dust all its life. The woman was cursed that she will have to give birth to children, and while giving birth to children, she will have to endure intense labor pains. And Adam was cursed to having to work for his entire life. He will have to work hard to earn a living. And with this, Adam and Eve were thrown out of the Garden of Eden, and they spent the rest of their lives on earth. It's a very interesting story. It has been referred to many times in pop culture movies. One movie that I saw was called Knowing. It is a science fiction movie from 2009. At the end of this movie, Adam and Eve were shown. But if we move ahead in our story, then after thousands of years, the population of humans increases on earth and God starts looking at humans. And seeing everything, God thinks that humans had become very evil. They were becoming worse. God starts regretting creating humans, who turned out so evil. He decides to wipe out the whole earth. All the humans, animals and birds, he wanted to end all. But in the meantime, there was a good person, Noah. Christians call him Noah and Muslims call him No. So in the eyes of God, Noah was a very good person. So God decided to tell him his plans. He told Noah that he was going to cause a great flood on earth. A great flood will come. Everything will be wiped out. He told him to make a big boat. He told him to get on the boat and to bring his wife, their 3 sons and their wives. And apart from this, to bring a male and female of each living organism on his ark. And of course, he was asked to take sufficient food with them for everyone to survive. So God waited for Noah to make this boat, ark, and when it was completely built, there was a flood on the entire earth. It rained continuously for 40 days and 40 nights. Everything on earth was submerged under water for 150 days. But Noah's ark was afloat on the water and the people on it were alive. Finally, the boat reached the mountain of Ararat. It was the only dry land. With time, the water starts receding, and all the people on this ark came out and got a new chance to live. I would like to refer to another science fiction film which had an indirect reference to Noah's Ark, the film 2012. At the end of this film, everything was submerged under water, but some ships were built in which some people were able to survive. If you notice, many Hollywood films have the parts of the story which are inspired by religious scriptures. Many of them are direct films, like the film Noah, which is based on this story. But in our story, Noah made an offering to God. He asks God to promise that he will never destroy life like that again. Now, the interesting thing is that there is a similar story in Hinduism, the story of King Manu. A small fish asks for protection from King Manu, and when the king saved it, the fish kept growing. According to the Purans, this fish was actually Matsya, an avatar of Lord Vishnu. This fish tells King Manu that a big flood was about to come and everything will be destroyed, and tells him to make a boat to survive. So King Manu built a huge boat which carried many living creatures, plants and saptarishis. And when the great flood came, they could survive because of the boat. And the Matsya avatar guided them safely to the Himalayas. Now, another mind-blowing thing is that in the ancient civilization of Mesopotamia, there is a similar story written in the scriptures, found there. The Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh. Here a great sage, Utnapishtim, was warned about a great flood, and he saved his relatives, living creatures, and food in a huge boat. Not only that, in Greek mythology, due to the anger of god Zeus, a great flood comes. Deucalion was warned about this flood by his father, Prometheus. Deucalion and his wife built a boat to escape the flood. Moving ahead with the story, we come to Abraham. There is a famous story of Abraham when he broke the idols. This story is not mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, but it is mentioned in Midrash Genesis Rabbah chapter 38. Midrash is basically a commentary on the Bible by a Jewish rabbi. We will find this story in chapter 21 verses 51 to 70 of the Quran, with some differences. The basic story is that it was the era when people used to worship idols. Abraham's father, Terah, was a man who made the idols and worshipped them. One day, Abraham's father went on a trip far away and left Abraham in charge of his shop. A man came to the shop to buy an idol. Abraham asks him for his age. 50 years, said the man. 50 years, said Abraham. A 50-year-old man would be worshipping an idol which is not even older than 1 year. Hearing this, the man was embarrassed and left the shop. On another occasion, when no other person was present, Abraham picked up a stick and broke all the idols.